Hi, I'm John Shipp. Welcome to my art analysis channel. In this episode, I'm going to talk about Giotto de Bondone's frescoes in the Arena Chapel or Scrovegni Chapel, which he completed around the year 1305. Giotto is the first artist who I think used multi-referencing in a big way, and that is a term that I've totally made up, which is to take several bits of artworks by another artist and incorporate it into a single work of your own. Giotto was hired by Enrico Scrovegni to make frescoes in the chapel, and he made 3 rows of frescoes, 39 frescoes, the top row being the life of Joachim and Anne, the Virgin Mary's parents, and the second row being the life of the Virgin Mary, and then the third row as the life of Jesus. And then on the far wall, as people exited the chapel, he also did a large fresco of the Last Judgment. And I believe all of these frescoes are multi-references where Giotto traveled the world and looked at great artwork and incorporated parts of those artworks into his own frescoes. I've found what I think are 5 multi-reference groups of artworks, and then I'll show you what I can. It's difficult to get the worldwide rights for several of these images, especially for churches with frescoes from the 11th and 12th century. But I've done what I can, and I'll show you the links where you can find these images on Wikimedia Commons. Now, Giotto was discovered by Cimabue, who was another great artist, when he was a child. Giotto was a shepherd, and he was drawing sheep on a rock, is how the story goes. And Cimabue was impressed and took Giotto as an apprentice, and Giotto became the great artist that he is now known as today. Cimabue actually created the earliest multi-reference that I've found so far, which is the kitchen Cimabue, also known as Christ being mocked, which recently sold at auction for 24 million euro, which I think is a bargain. That painting, or might be a fresco on wood, tempera on wood, was created about 25 years before Giotto's Arena Chapel frescoes. Cimabue created it around 1280, I think. And he multi-references Guido of Siena, who you can also find on Wikimedia Commons. Also, no one officially knows what Giotto looks like. However, there is a repeating character that appears in Giotto's frescoes in the Arena Chapel, which I believe are self-portraits that Giotto makes of a character who is of dark hair, clean-shaven, of shorter stature, playing different roles, usually minor roles, shown in the frescoes, sometimes holding the reins of a donkey, sometimes holding a basket, or helping to carry something. In Christ Among the Doctors, he is Christ, but in the rest of the frescoes, he is not Christ. Maybe he's emphasizing that he's really not a doctor. In Resurrection, the Resurrection fresco, there are 2 guards that are kind of in mirror image, who are asleep, who are clean-shaven with dark hair, which I think is Giotto's clever way to say that in mirror image, it's a self-portrait. So take a look.
Shown here is Giotto's Massacre of the Innocents. This is my dictionary definition for the term multi-referencing. Except for the stories about Giotto, everything in here is totally made up by me. It's only my opinion. However, I still believe it to be true. You can compare all of these pictures on the Wikimedia Commons website. The Church of Transfiguration is about 1,000 miles from Florence in a straight line. The distances I show are from Florence, Italy, which is where Giotto lived. The Scrovegni Chapel is about 116 miles north of Florence, the way the crow flies. I unfortunately can't show you the frescoes from the Monastery of St. John, but you can look them up on Wikimedia Commons. Here is Giotto's flight into Egypt. Notice the young man holding the reins of the donkey and talking with Joseph. He's of short stature and clean-shaven with dark hair, and I think it is one of Giotto's many self-portraits. At St. Martin's Church, there's a fresco of St. James and a character to the left of St. James with outstretched arms with shapes I believe are referenced in Giotto's rods brought to the temple. There is a lamentation scene in the Abbey of San Nazaro della Costa with a strong resemblance to Giotto's lamentation, but Giotto references other frescoes there as well. It is over 1,600 miles to travel to St. Catherine's Monastery, which is an amazing place, and that 1,600 miles is in a straight line. I think that Giotto multi-referenced icons from St. Catherine's Church in Mount Sinai. I'm missing some big pieces to this puzzle, but I still saw over a dozen references. Another teaching tool that Giotto creates in his Scrovegni chapel frescoes is repeating lines in larger and smaller scale. Expulsion from the Temple is Giotto's first fresco in order of his storytelling, and he makes the stairs and pulpit as a larger image of Joachim's head and right shoulder. Joachim among the shepherds I will show you. The Annunciation to St. Anne by Giotto is not shown, but if you look on the Wikimedia Commons website, the house and stairs is a large repeating shape of Anne's head and hair. The Lamentation picture I will show you. The meeting at the Golden Gate fresco is not shown, but the two figures of Joachim and his wife kissing are repeated in smaller scale with their lips and Joachim's beard. Here in the fresco The Flight into Egypt, the shape of the Virgin and Child and the donkey is repeated in the mountains and people to the left. Here is Giotto's Lamentation. The outstretched right arm of Jesus is shown in larger scale as the mountain in the background. It's almost the same color, too. But Jesus has two outstretched arms. The left arm in larger scale could be the lower row of angels. Jesus is partly on earth and partly in heaven and will rise again. Here is Joachim among the shepherds, with the dog as the mountains in mirror image. And here's my Picasso drawing of the dog here.
Another story about Giotto that's in the books is that Pope Benedict XI, who was the Pope at the time, was searching to see who would become his next artist and sent messengers around the world to get samples of their work. And when a messenger arrived at Giotto's, the story goes that Giotto dipped his brush in red paint and created a perfect circle freehand without using a compass. So artists who are multi-referencing Giotto might make reference to a circle or part of a circle, or a sheep or a shepherd's hook, or a drawing on a rock. The circle has many meanings, it seems, with Giotto, with the red circle story, as well as the circle of multi-references, as well as the arena chapel, as the chapel used to be next to a Roman arena, which is a semicircle or circular. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.